Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of The Bullet. My name is Paul Lathrop. I'm the Deputy Director of New Media for the Second Amendment Foundation. Joining me today, as she does every other Wednesday, Amanda Suffecool of Eye on the Target Radio and Women for Gun Rights and about a million other things. She also is one of the people that helps me out with AmCon that's coming up the end of September. Amanda, thanks for coming along for the ride today.
Oh no, thanks. Thanks for having me. It's always a little slice of heaven, Paul.
All right. I don't know if I'd call doing this a little slice half, and it is fun though. Uh,
It is fun.
I want to remind everybody as we get started, if you want to comment and you're watching on the Polite Society podcast feeds, either Facebook or YouTube, just comment on the videos. I get those fairly quickly, and we'll get your comments up. We'll discuss them. If you're watching on OpsLens or anywhere else live, and you want to get a comment in, go to Twitter and tweet with the hashtag Bullet Podcast. That actually gets here the quickest, and I'll get those comments up as well. Just getting social media finished up here, and looks like we've already got people in looking at us on YouTube and commenting, so let's go ahead and get started. First story, the one that hit my attention first is we've got Young versus Hawaii, and this is a case where Young sued Hawaii that you wanted either a concealed or an open carry license in Hawaii, was denied, sued, went to the Ninth Circuit, lost, appealed, got all the way to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court ruled on Bruin and then seen this case and said, well, it's one of those they just sent back, said, look, sent it back to the Ninth Circuit, said, read what we did in Bruin and fix it. And the Ninth Circuit just punted it back to the district court saying, okay, fix it. Amanda, on this one, I really think this is just a delay tactic by the Ninth Circuit. They don't want to fold and do what the Supreme Court told them to do, so they kicked it back down to district, hoping district comes up with a supremely creative way to go around the Bruin decision. I don't think they're gonna. It's just gonna cost everybody more money.
Well, here's one of the questions though for Young is the district, if the district court makes a determination on it and Young wins, it's just over. If the district court is a jackwagon about it, then it goes back to the Ninth Circuit, correct? So
Yes.
so Young stands a chance of winning at a lower court. They just don't want to, because every court makes a decision for the scope of where that court is. The Ninth Circuit doesn't want to have the umbrella be big. They want it to be a tiny little umbrella.
They want just to cover Hawaii, is what you're saying. Not Hawaii, California,
Mm,
Washington, Oregon, Nevada, so on.
bada bing, bada boom. Hmm.
Okay, that does make sense. That makes a
Right. Yeah. So
lot of sense.
it's a couple different things. I mean, the other is, or you could say the Ninth Circuit is just way too busy, and they don't think they could get to it in a timely fashion, and so it would be unfair to Young, and so they have to try to get it to it in a more timely manner. But
Baloney! I'm sorry, was
I
that
think
external?
I think I think that's a crock of cheese,
Yes.
but it is an option.
It is that. It is that. Honestly, what I think is they're just kicking the ball down the court. They're trying to delay. My honest opinion is they're trying to delay as long as they possibly can. They know they're going to get this back, and they're
Well,
just trying
and
to delay.
if the district court rules against Young, then they will get it back. Um, so and then it costs Young more money. So yeah, it's a either way. Um, Strategically for the anti-gun people, the Ninth Circuit throwing it back down to the district court helps the anti-gun folks on either keeping it small or delaying it.
Yeah. Here, I've been thinking about this the last few days, and I'm just gonna bounce this off you. I wish there were a way that you can, if you were to tell, if you are come up to a local judge and in
Hmm.
front of a local judge and you say, look, I'm just not going to do what you tell me to, go pound sand, you could go to jail for contempt of court.
Hmm.
If the Ninth Circuit doesn't do what the Supreme Court tells them to, there's really nothing that can happen. There ought to be a way for judges to be held in contempt of the Supreme Court, be removed from their position, or sit their butt in jail for a few months while they think
Yeah.
about whether they want to continue with this career or not.
The Supreme Court ought to be able to play whack-a-mole with the top of their head,
Yeah,
but I'm not sure they can.
and I'm this that's maybe this coming Friday is Alex's day, Alex Uli's day.
So give him a heads up and ask him that, because I think that's a great question.
Yeah. Um, get a comment in here over on the Facebook side. Gerald has a comment. He goes, their hope is the average person does not have enough money to afford their rights. Gerald, I think you hit the nail on the head. And this has
Yeah.
been going on since 2011. So now we're 11 years into this. Maybe they're hoping
Right.
that young dies off and somebody else has to
And
start the
and
process anew.
over again, the case is moot. I mean, Haller took 13 years.
Yeah.
So this path is a long and arduous one, and they are not motivated to be speedy.
Nope. Not at all.
Hmm.
Let me go back to show notes here. Next one. This is a carryover story. Honestly, this story has been in my hopper all week. It was a story on Monday, and I keep trying to get to it, but we keep running out of time. Imagine that. I like to
You keep
talk, but
punting it down the road. Yeah.
this is off of Cranes Detroit. It's a financial paper. Gun
Hmm.
control bills go nowhere in Michigan. And you're going to read a little bit from this article. Columbine, 1999. Newtown, 2012. Parkland, 2018. Santa Fe, 2019. Oxford, 2021. Uvalde, 2022. Each mass shooting has shocked the conscience, prompting some states to enact higher gun restrictions designed to prevent future slaughters. They're just designed to disarm good people. But anyway, but in
Well,
Michigan,
this is Cranes. It is an extremely business-oriented, fairly liberal
mm-hmm,
in its thought process. So yeah, just know that.
yeah. But in Michigan, gun control legislation continues to go nowhere, blocked by Republicans who have had full or partial control of the legislature for nearly 40 years and who instead have sought looser gun laws. The inaction has frustrated proponents who say lawmakers at the very least, should pass safe storage and red flag measures if no consensus can be found on expanded background checks and high capacity magazine limits. So
Right. I
here
mean,
they're
they
listing.
randomly pick out things that the Giffords organization says is the juicy little fruit to pull off the tree.
Yeah,
And they have no idea which ones actually work, but Gifford says these are fabulous. And ugh,
yeah, they the and they the first two are the most damaging, honestly. Safe storage is guaranteeing that if you need your firearm, you can't get to your firearm. And red
wait,
flag
and
is,
let's talk about safe storage for a minute.
yeah,
Safe storage also then says if we are legislating safe storage, then that means that we are legislating safe storage inspection. That means that we are coming into your house to see your papers, please. How do you have things? Is it acceptable? What does it look like? And are you in compliance? And
yeah.
so we do not, as Americans, we do not embrace um, these types of legislative compliance.
Well,
Just stopgap across the board.
The other thing that happens with safe storage is if somehow your gun does get stolen and somebody uses that gun in a crime, guess what? You catch a charge too.
Right, because you didn't store it safe enough.
Yeah. You're going to have
Right.
to bury it in a concrete vault where you forget the combination to that vault in order to be truly safe. Yeah. Um, and red flag laws, we've been over red flag laws before. Red flag laws is just your ex-girlfriend's revenge law, is what that is.
It's feel good legislation because there is already laws in place if there is someone who has an issue. Red flag just allows you to do it without being responsible and without causing the other person to know it was you. And so that's
And
you can hide behind that
and again, if somebody is truly dangerous, you're going to have the police go in and take their guns, which you
and leave
think
them.
might make them mad, and somebody who's on edge, you're going to make them mad, and then, by the way, leave them free to go ahead and do damage with anything else that's not a
We
firearm.
leave them water, we leave them knives, we leave them their car, we leave them gasoline, but we've taken the nasty little guns.
Yeah, exactly. And go back to Oklahoma City. That was done with ammonium nitrate fertilizer and diesel fuel. That's what Oklahoma City, and that was a huge stinking building that was brought down by somebody that was torqued off.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and dozens of people killed. Yeah, just the red flag laws just do not make sense. You're going to take away one item and leave somebody who you think is unstable free.
Right.
Not
that you feel strongly about this or anything, Paul.
right. Pete over at Gun Websites. I love Pete's comments. Question: have you ever invited one of these writers to be on the show to discuss and explore their point of view and awareness of DCP? Faster.
Walk the talk. Faster. Yeah.
Generally,
No.
those go on to Polite Society. That's my Monday night show, and I have invited, and I will continue to invite those people. The Bullet is generally a news discussion. I will occasionally, like I did last week, I'll occasionally have somebody on that's written a book or something, and it will just dedicate that show to them. But yeah, I Monday night is generally where I put those folks in. DC Project, I believe I give them a good amount of attention. I should get more attention to Faster and Walk the Talk America.
No. That's you're misunderstanding his point. His point is having the author of Cranes and the article at Cranes come in and explore their point of view and saying, okay, if your point of view is the Giffords' point of view, have you contemplated or considered the DCP or Walk the Talk America or Faster or any one of those other organizations and the things that they do and their point of view?
Yeah, that's a fantastic suggestion. And normally
brilliant, Pete.
Normally, if you go to a online story, which is where I get most of what we cover, you click on the author's name and there's contact information there. I'm not a confrontational type of interviewer. However,
no, but that could be it doesn't have to be it doesn't have to be confrontational to be a discussion. It doesn't have to be an aha and a gotcha.
Right.
It is a discussion.
Right. Let me see here. He follows up with right on. I think those reporters have potential to understand more than they do now, or they just do not know what they do not know. Yeah, you're right.
Mm-hmm. And it depends. When you have a conversation with some of them don't want to know. I have an interaction with two reporters here in my area, And I have been misquoted multiple times. And one of them, I mean, absolutely blatantly, bigly misquoted me and then said, well, I thought it was a fair characterization of what you would have said based on things that I've seen in the past. How can you attribute a quote to me that I didn't say? Because it was in your mind. Yes, it was a fair characterization. He thought. I was like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Exactly. Quotes actually have to be said by the person you attribute the quote to. That it's kind of like this minor rule.
I know it's a major rule. I don't do a lot of writing anymore since my stroke, but one rule I have when I was writing a lot, was if I directly interviewed somebody, I recorded the phone call with their permission, and that way, when Dave Workman asked, I could play him the recording of the interview and the exact words this person said as they said it. So,
right.
Yeah, that's wow.
Oh yeah, I was frosted, we'll just say.
Yeah. Get this. Gerald says the bullet is announced in Facebook as Polite Society Podcast. You probably know this. No, actually, I didn't. I know it's on the Polite Society Podcast page, but it should be titled as the bullet.
When it's on Polite Society Podcast page, if you don't go in and change that picture and when you're setting it up, there's some stuff that you have to do, and there's like, it's a 5-step process, and if you miss one, that's what happens.
And I'll just be honest, I have been running today. One of the things I was running to do. Go ahead.
I've had women for gun rights come up as Polite Society Podcast. So I'm just gonna say that I have we all do it. So sorry, good catch, but it'll probably happen again.
Yeah. And please remind me if I do. Gerald, thank you. And please remind me again if I do, because I want to get this as right as I can. Right. One of the things I was running, and I'm not going to announce, I'm not going to announce who, but one of the things we do for AmCon that I just get a charge out of, we give out, Amanda has won it before, we give out the Person Making a Difference Award. And we had that made up today, and I went and picked up the actual award for AmCon. So
and it's a secret. My favorite was my favorite was the year I won, but no, my second favorite, or my true not me favorite, was when it was all orchestrated because Sarah Cade Hauptman was doing her presentation remotely. And so the presentation, she was winning the award, and the award was shipped to her then boyfriend, soon to be husband. And so that he was in on giving it to her live via Zoom. It was great.
Yeah, that was the first year, the only year really that AmCon had to go all digital. That was 2020 when COVID was kicking the country's butt. And now we're back to fully. Last year we were a kind of a hybrid in person and online. This year we're fully in person, but yeah, that was the year that COVID kicked everybody's butt. We were totally online. And yeah, the look on her face when cause she's looking over, what's John doing? He's making a lot of noise. Hey, we're on the air. What's going on over there? And then he hands her the award, and the look on her face was just priceless.
Yeah, it was great.
All right, we burned a bunch of time talking about nothing. So I want to get to an article by my boss. Dave Workman wrote this one up. He said the title of this is Alarming California Data. I would change that to Expected California Data. 70% of criminal suspects released with no bail re-offend. I'm going to grab just 2 paragraphs out of here. An alarming report from California has revealed that more than 70% of criminal suspects released without bail between 2020 in 2021 in Yolo County committed new crimes, according to Fox News. The story quoted Yolo County District Attorney Jeff Reisig, who issued a statement Monday observing when over 70% of the people released under mandated zero bail policies go on to commit additional crimes, including violent offenses such as robbery and murder, there's simply no rational public safety related basis to continue such a practice post-pandemic, especially in the light of increasing violent crime rates across California.
California. We need to do something about guns because there's so much guns that causes crime. We don't need to do anything about criminals, but we need to do something about guns.
Yeah, well, California, I guess what I'm trying to say is you made your bed, have a nice rest.
There. Right. I mean, they don't get this whole, cause and effect. And a criminal is a criminal. And if you don't do something to deter that criminal, I was talking to somebody the other day, literally talking to somebody the other day that had a DUI. And in the negotiations that he was having to be able to get his car back and to be able to go to work and get rid of the ankle bracelet and all of that, he went to court and he was like, oh yeah, I had a drug charge that I forgot about from another time. Okay. And then in the conversation, then he talked about how he'd met the judge when his mother was sentenced to prison because she had 9 DUIs. Do they not see that there's something going on here? Right? I mean, and I had to say, I'm like way too, I don't know what country for this. I don't know. I had to pick my job because I just was amazed that his mother wasn't in the slammer way before that and that he didn't learn one darn thing from mama.
Yeah.
So back to your story of criminals, if there's not something to convince them that they don't want to do it again, then it's like no big deal. Okay, fine.
I'm going to go back into the real United States. I'm going to come to central United States and eastward to about Pennsylvania. Because we're going to exclude, the far east. But anyway, in real America, there are 2 deterrents for offending again. Number one, first, if you get caught, you're going to you're going to sit your butt in jail. Usually it's going to be for a while. Secondly, if you choose the wrong victim, you might get your butt shot and your life may end.
Mm-hmm.
That is, in my opinion, why California, Oregon, Washington are having rising crime problems. New York and Baltimore having rising crime problems.
Mm-hmm.
The rest of the country, not so much.
Right. Yeah.
See here, we got we got about 7 minutes left. The next one. And I thought all along this might be the one we spent the most time on. I got this one off of Bearing Arms. This is a Cam Edwards story. Cam writes, as we've been reporting for the past few weeks, the ATF has taken an unusually aggressive approach to cracking down on straw purchases, showing up at gun owners' homes and asking questions about their recent purchases. So far, most of the mainstream media has ignored these incidents, but now Senator Joni Ernst of Iowa is demanding answers from the Attorney General Merrick Garland. The agency's knock and talks could soon come under greater scrutiny from both news outlets and politicians in Washington, D.C. Several reports and videos have surfaced detailing ATF agents engaging in knock and talk investigations of straw purchases, Ernst wrote in the letter obtained by Fox News Digital. During the course of these knock and talk investigations, ATF agents knock on the front door of a private residence and ask the resident to display a recently purchased firearm as proof that that resident did not conduct a straw purchase. In all of the knock and talk incidents brought to my attention, none of these involved the presentation of a warrant. Almost there. Ernst says ATF agents often arrive at the house in full gear wearing bulletproof vests and do not inform residents at the homes that producing the firearm was optional. The combination of these factors calls into question whether the ATF's actions are meant to harass or coerce firearms purchasers into, at best, legally questionable investigations, she stated. Good on Senator Ernst. I was wondering about her for a while. She is one of the senators that bent and went the other way with the bipartisan Safer Communities Act that rolled through and got signed into law by Biden. But in this case, she's doing a good thing for the Second Amendment community. Yeah.
So, did you see the video of the ATF agent? Was it in Columbus, Ohio, that did the knock, and she called the police, and the police came and saw that he had a gun, asked him to identify himself. He refused. It turned into this whole thing to where the Columbus police took him down. He's screaming, and I think they tased him. I mean, there was a variety of things, and they finally called his supervisors, but he was like, I'm a police officer, but he wouldn't do what they asked him to do to sort it all out.
Yeah.
He was just obnoxious and belligerent about it. And the video is really long and really interesting because multiple police officers are like, look, dude, I need you to do this so that we're both safe. He's not gonna. So, yeah.
I'm a federal agent. I shouldn't have to do what you peons tell me to do.
Well, they put him on the ground, and
yes. From that, I did see that from that incident, he did, and this hasn't been resolved again. The wheels of justice grind extremely slow. He did file suit against the police department of Columbus and those two officers that arrested him. Nothing has happened with that lawsuit yet. But
no, well, and then they ended up with their supervisor there. I mean, there was a plethora of officers there when you watch the whole thing.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
It's.
But he didn't have a warrant, and he did have a gun, and he didn't. Yeah, so there you go.
Well, and so he was in plain clothes when he went up to this lady's door.
Right.
These are people are showing up in full battle rattle, for lack of a better term.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
in some cases, there's like 3 or 4 of them that come together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And that's absolutely an intimidation tactic on their part. I am not an attorney, and that's one of the topics I plan on bringing up with Alex this Friday. If you get a group of 3 or 4 ATF agents that show up at your door, at what point do you say come back with a warrant and leave the door closed and locked?
Yeah.
We'll
come back with my sheriff. I know him.
Yeah. My sheriff's on the way. You can deal with him, and I'll deal with him.
Right.
And again, we are not lawyers. We are not giving out legal advice. This show is for information. And
we're talking about our opinions.
Yes,
our opinions.
So, we are coming down on the bottom of the hour. These go by really quick. Amanda, if you would, Women for Gun Rights. Tell us what's happening this coming Friday, and anything else you want to plug.
Well, this coming Friday, we are running an interview with Natalie Widener, and Natalie Widener is the Chronicles of the Range Monkey. She is part of the Active Self-Protection team, and I have to say that if she is the future of the Second Amendment, it is in very, very good hands. And so that's a great interview. And then Sunday we do Eye on the Target Radio Sunday night from 5 to 7, available on Upslands and on Salem Radio.
I got to say, again, Natalie, I had an opportunity to sit down and do a one-on-one interview with her when we were at the Mingle this past spring. And she is a very, very impressive young lady. I really totally agree with you. If the Second Amendment is resting on the shoulders of people like her, people like Rachel Malone, who we discussed offline here a little bit ago, we are in great hands. Young ladies like that are a driving force in the industry, and if we could just put their focus behind what's going forward, we've got it made. So
right.
Let me see. I want to get a couple comments in here real quick before we take off. This is why we go long. Okay. This is why we go so long all the time. But talking about the no bail story, Mike White says, I heard that no bail story on KFI radio yesterday. Yeah, I sometimes get stories that are a day or two old. Going back to the
no, I think that the good news that Mike's saying is that he picked it up on mainstream.
Yes.
The mainstream. So not just on Second Amendment media, he's picking it up on mainstream media, which is a very good sign.
Yes. Gerald says, one of the reasons I have a no trespassing sign, no warrant, no arrest or cite. There you go. And then John says, this is why in Wilmington, Delaware, they brought a state trooper with them to prevent this happening from happening again. Yeah, I'd be more. Speaking from my home studio in Sioux Falls, South Dakota, I'm going to be a lot happier if somebody from the state patrol shows up with a couple ATF agents. They're going to get the same treatment. If a local sheriff, who I know a lot of them, shows up, a local deputy sheriff, or maybe the local sheriff himself shows up with the ATF agents, it's going to get a lot. It's going to be a lot more friendly.
Or a warrant.
Or a right? Warrant, yeah.
Or that document. Yeah, that official document goes a long way too.
Exactly. Right. All right. That's going to do it for us today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting, everybody. Come join us tomorrow. Mike Piwowarski will be your commentator. And again, Friday is going to be Alex Uli with our legal talk. So that's it for today. Come join us next time. And until then, thanks, everybody.